Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. Now, window boxes are by nature shallow. So are there any annuals that you prefer over others for a window box area?
Actually, no, Mark, and you have a point. They're not only not just shallow, they're not very wide or deep or whatever you want to call it. It stymies plants. One, they have to have good drainage. They have to have a soil blend that is, well, we'll call it a soilless mixture in that, so that we don't get into the compaction of clays and so on. In other words, I would never put a shovel full of real soil in a window box or other such. I would want to use a mix of peat, perlite, perlome, organic matter that's been composted and so on. So I have had, or some of my clients have had, exceptionally good luck learning how to handle it. Number one, you don't cover the drain holes or make drain holes, whichever. Allow that you can put a piece of broken pot that has a curvature to it over the hole so it doesn't keep bleeding out soil all the time, but it will let the water out. And then it's the matter of learning to water at the right times. It would depend entirely then on which direction the window box faces. The west afternoon sun, you might have to water every day, at least after after this point in the year when plants' roots are getting pretty rambunctious under there to keep themselves going. There'll be a lot of competition. So it may dry within a day. The ones on the north side, depending on the plants you've used, would be perhaps 3 days between waterings. It's just a matter, though, of being careful not to let them go too dry, and certainly you have to avoid the shallowness as a matter of being too wet. So, it's all doable. And then that kicks my mind over into this business of water-soluble fertilizer. When you are dealing with a potting mix, when you're dealing with any kind of container, baskets and things that come to my mind, the watering process that you must do leaches a lot of the fertilizer out of the soil. So every X number of times that you water the plant, put some water-soluble fertilizer in, even if you mix it half rate. I have found it to work. You just simply sustain the amount of material or oil, let's just say, fertilizer that's in the soil by doing that, and keeps the planters going. Sometimes, those that are under an overhead on a porch or whatever can even go in well into October before they freeze out and so on. I know also in terms of holding things over, in baskets that have the tuberous begonias in them, I know that when they're dried down and put away before the whole basket freezes, they'll stay alive right in that basket. You just put it out and start watering it in the spring. But it's all kinds of stories on that. I know I've diverged from the actual question, but I would vote against perennials just because they don't show much.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com